I'm not okay with the school that my daughter goes to. You know, I went to do that safety check on her and they threatened to arrest me.
That's all that she sent us was a photo. That's all that she sent us was a photo.
California, where I am,
from
and I will.
lived.
I will.
So,
no, because I'm here so I can get my daughter to safety.
Violating my rights. You're putting my daughter at risk. Don't what?
Go ahead.
At the time that I went to do the wellness check at Smithson Valley Middle School in Como County, Bulverde, Texas, my ex-husband and I had 50-50 legal custody. And I was treated so poorly that I actually assumed they must have had a different copy of the court record on file. So I checked. At the time, I was extremely confused with why I was being treated so poorly. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist and I am a child development expert, and I literally sip tea and heal broken hearts for a living. And I emailed the school and I let them see that image, and I told them I had more evidence and more concerns. And instead they had the stepmother, who was in the allegations with the father for being involved in a marriage ceremony that made my daughter uncomfortable. And I told them this, and instead they conspired with my ex-husband to detain me and here's the evidence of that. My daughter's father, Naval Officer Wesley Poirier, was so convinced that I was going to be detained that he prematurely sent that text message to my mother. And him jumping to tell my mother is also typical of coercive control, a type of domestic violence, because he's controlling the narrative because he got to my own mother before I did. I thought officials were going to stand by me, thought they were going to call CPS, and my daughter was going to come safely to me. I flew out from San Diego to San Antonio, really distraught about the safety of my then 12-year-old daughter. I thought they were going to call CPS, and I thought CPS was going to give me my daughter, that I was going to go through proper channels to ensure my daughter's safety. Instead, I lost custody because of that. I lost custody because of how Smithson Valley Middle School staff handled my safety check on my daughter.
What I'm provided, and I've already been provided some information, and it sounds like Mr. Poirier, more things have happened that you wish to document, so you may want to supplement your pleading so you can share with me in a sworn fashion the information you were telling me about your daughter blocking her and what's been going on since I last heard from you. But I did see communications, text messages, and exchanges to give me a bit of a flavor of what's going on, and for now that will be sufficient for me to hear from your child.
Thank you. Can I just ask, can you send that to me again, because I have not seen that request for order. I haven't seen that evidence, so I don't know if I missed it. Wesley, text messages from Isabella?
I did not submit it as official, but I can, so I will do that now. That's pretty easy.
You gave
I was
it
just
just
keeping
to
it.
her honor and not to me?
So
I just said it today.
Stop. The court had received information and summaries from both of you. Ma'am, you are the one who submitted the emails, and a lot of the documentation that I received, I got from you, including the text with your daughter, with her doing the picture with the sign. I got it from you.
What I want you to hear from that court proceeding that I recorded to protect myself because they kept doing runarounds on me in court is the judge telling my ex-husband what to submit so that she has enough evidence to rule against me. We're supposed to have fair trials, and that is against the law. 18 U.S.C. 241 is a conspiracy against rights, and that is what it seems like happened. The school was against my parental rights, the sheriff was against my parental rights, and 5 judges in San Diego were against my parental rights. You heard Judge Rebecca Cantor. She said she saw the image. If anything, people would say, we think you're overreacting, let's look into it. Not, you don't have parental rights anymore. Do parents not get to check on their children in America? And 18 U.S.C. 242 is deprivation of rights under color of law. So in order that takes away my parental rights from a court that I'm pretty sure doesn't even have the power. It's not an Article 3 judge. They're not supposed to be able to take away parental rights. It's a God-given constitutional right. So it's about 2 years later, and we still don't know what is going on with my daughter. And I'm one of many parents in this country who don't know what is going on with their children.
Okay, so sir, I understand your concern about summer break, but my temporary orders, the orders that are currently in place, are for you to have sole legal and physical custody with no visitation. That includes spring break, okay? But it also would include summer. So at this point, based on the orders that are currently in place, respondent would not get any visitation whatsoever.
Because I went to check on my daughter, they removed spring break and they removed summer break. Later, Wesley invited me to see my daughter for Mother's Day, probably because she missed her mommy. And when I told Jessica Saxton that he invited me, she thought the same thing that I did. It's a trap. And I believe what happened when I went to visit my daughter that Mother's Day was a felony wiretapping, possibly using Navy equipment. And I told the Navy, and you know what the Navy did? Absolutely nothing. I asked them, what do you do when an officer commits a felony perjury under oath that takes away my parental rights? And let me add, La Mouche factors are how they decide if a child should move. That's the number one way they decide in California. And La Mouche factors, what the law says versus what they're doing in court. La Mouche factors says the child should be with the custodial parent. Like I said, I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. The other one has alcohol problems on the court record. He travels for work. My work is literally around mothering my daughter. And here's the kicker. When I went to do that safety check on my daughter, Wesley was out of town. Something he lied and said would never happen. And the stepmother, who is not a biological parent, is the one they called to pick up my daughter. He wasn't even in town. He wasn't even in town. And let me tell you something else. I personally don't think, after being through all of this, anyone needs a court order to parent their children. So grandma doesn't need a court order to see her child. Bridget can raise my daughter, and she doesn't need a court order. The school can keep my daughter against my will. The judge, who clearly sides with the father over me, can decide what happens with my daughter. You guys, we have constitutional rights to restrict the government, restrict them. We have rights to our children, and they are being destroyed in this country. For the original move away, I literally was like, oh, this is going to be an inconvenient morning. He doesn't have anything to stand on. Her doctors are here. She's grown up in San Diego since she was 3 years old. He doesn't have anything to stand on. And I think the only reason he took me was because he knew they were going to side with him. He knew. He did a terrible job on his brief. He said that the stepmother is the mother our daughter desperately needs. When somebody does that, when they show they want to do erasure, the other parent is also supposed to keep the child. It's in the brief. The court documents have changed since then. I still have that record, and I've put it on my Facebook. September 9th, I didn't go to my last trial because I went to the mediation, and it was another, what the Turkish protocol classifies as torture. Even though I've gone to courts, even though I've showed up with the actual evidence, they kept ruling against me. And when I went to the mediation, she said that I was a flight risk, because I was challenging jurisdiction. But if you don't have a fair trial, they lose subject matter jurisdiction. And I had 2 years of going to court and having a false narrative spun against me. And every time I went with more evidence and more facts, they took more time away from me. Judge Yukita Oliver, the original move away order, she said I couldn't even go to my daughter's 5th grade graduation because the father didn't want me there. She said, just follow the court order. The imperfect court order, where the father wasn't even flexible enough for me to go to my daughter's 5th grade graduation. This is child abuse, you guys. This is child abuse. When a child can't see their mother who's dedicated to seeing them, and people don't always get that, but can you imagine if your children were suddenly blocked from seeing you? Your 12-year-old, she originally moved at 11 after he talked to her, and I have so much evidence. I want to put together a longer documentary because I have receipts for days on errors by Smithson Valley Middle School, on 5 judges in San Diego, on the therapist Smithson Valley Middle School sent my daughter to, who changed her records to support her father. And then the Texas Behavioral Health Board, who holds her license, despite all of the evidence that I put together, let her get away with it. I really believe America's children are at risk, and we are not the only country that this is happening to parents. It's happening in New Zealand, it's happening in South Africa, it's happening in European Union, and it's happening in Australia, and it's happening in Canada. So I don't believe that I can lose custody, especially as a dedicated mother. And I don't believe that somebody without subject matter jurisdiction, because they were doing backdoor deals with my ex-husband, or seemingly doing backdoor deals with my ex-husband, can take away my parental rights, but I'm still blocked from my daughter. And let me tell you why. Because I can be arrested based on that void order that was written. I can be arrested for wanting to go spend time with my daughter. So I really hope that everybody starts to question orders and starts to question if we don't honor our rights, if we think orders go over human rights, go over a mother's ability to protect her child, to do a safety check on her child, a valid safety check after receiving an image and finding out my daughter asked my sister to pray for her because she felt uncomfortable about the marriage ceremony. She received a ring. I have that on video too, and I want to give everybody everything and show everybody what happened, because I know it's easier to believe with receipts, but it takes time. It takes a lot of time to compile everything, to make it make sense. So I'm giving you this now. If you want to help with the time, if you buy any of my audiobooks, it helps me put time aside from this, because I don't have to work on legal drafts. I don't have to see my patients. If you're interested in the Ascension Psychology method, that helps too. And the biggest thing, my biggest ask, is for everyone to realize that our parental rights are bigger than a state of tyranny, because California and Texas have been tyrannical states to me, where police and judges are violating my rights left and right, and thousands of people like me, and our children, and our babies who are confused, who want their mother. I studied psychology so that I could break generational patterns, so that I can give my child an easier life than the one that I had. And the judge followed no laws and traumatized my baby. And they've left me in a corner that is hard to protect her from. The biggest weapon I have, the biggest leverage, is making sure America is aware of what's going on. That safety check, by the way, Wesley wrote it up as an order for kidnapping. He said that was a kidnapping attempt, even though I went straight to the principal and vice principal to check on her. Even though, actually, when Judge Yukita Oliver made the order, she didn't even have a valid oath of office, so the whole order was void. The whole order was void. She wasn't even validly on the chair. Here's the kicker: the school knew it because I showed them that her oath was expired. Let me clear that up. Showed that the oath was expired at the time that she held the move-away trial. The one-day move-away trial that she said was a permanent order, even though none of my witnesses were able to be called up, even though she actually wouldn't let me put any of my evidence in there, and she told me to just tell her my side of the story, knowing that there was no court reporter, so there was no record of all of the errors she did. But I actually ripped apart what happened when I did the appeal, and her ruling was awarded or rubber stamped then by the appeals judges too, three of them. She ruled the order was a Montenegro order, even though my ex and I hadn't been in court for 10 years or so, because we were getting along. And even though my daughter had never been that away from me for that long. And the school kept from me that my daughter was crying. The therapist kept from me that my daughter missed me. The therapist actually wrote a lie to the court too.